All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday Night Live with Greg and Neil.
We're back.
How's it going, Dad?
Good. How are you doing, Neil?
Pretty good. So, we
All
did our
right.
filming this morning for the next week on YouTube. So, we got some good stuff coming out there.
Yep.
Also, other exciting news for anybody who didn't know is we started a YouTube membership where you can join the channel as a member and get access to some very special live stream training. And this is going to be very direct training and very specific with different topics each live. Um, the first training is going to be next Thursday. We have a special guest coming in who is going to be talking specifically about statistics and managing a business through statistics. So he'll be doing a segment on keeping score in business, which is what your statistics are for. And after that, we're going to have Greg talk about the 4 pillars of business. So that'll be the following week. And then the week after that, we have a very special guest as well who's going to be talking about marketing. And then we're going to do one about sales the week after that. So be sure you join the membership. All you have to do is click the join button down below. If you don't see a join button and you are on an Apple mobile device, that is because you are on an Apple mobile device and they block that. So you just join through like a desktop or a Mac computer. They don't let you do it through a mobile. I don't know.
We're the
These
victim of the Apple Google wars.
stupid tech companies just, tech is supposed to make everything easier. And I swear to God, with just what it took for me to find what cable provider to use just to get what I wanted was insane. Everybody's got their own crap now. You can't get anything you want without signing up for 25 things. But join the membership for as low as $20 a month. You get access to all of the special live trainings with us and with our special guests who are going to be coming in from all over the place to actually speak and teach. This is an actual educational membership. It's not just a give us some money every month because you like us kind of thing. You can obviously do that and I will accept that. But the point is to actually teach you. So you can hit the join button down below and learn how to do that. In fact, the first training session that we're doing next Thursday is extremely relevant to what we're going to be talking about tonight with how do you pay employees? Do I give bonuses? Do I give rewards? How do I know who to bonus? How do I know who to give rewards to? Am I paying somebody too much, too little? Those types of things actually get clarified through statistics, and we're going to show you how to do that next Thursday. So be sure you join. So that leads us into Dad talking about paying employees.
Yeah. So I'm the one that brought this idea up as a topic, and I've seen the whole gamut. I just turned 65, a few months ago. And I graduated from dental school in 1981. That's just crazy to me that was 40 years ago. And so I've been a partner at practice management company since 93. I've literally dealt with thousands of dentists. And now we have Matterhorn, which is for general business. And this always comes up like, how much am I going to pay? And then I've seen so much emotion wrapped around this number. Now, I have seen situations where the owner is actually paying an employee more than what they're making, right? That's not right. But then I've seen the other end where I've seen the owner paying valuable, priceless employees like slightly more than minimum wage. So I've seen the entire scale. So for me, there really is a point where, as an owner, that salary, that pay is coming out of your pocket. It's coming right off your family's table, your kids' college education fund. That is true. You are giving them your money. But then why are we hiring to begin with? Well, we're hiring for one of two reasons, and maybe a combination of both. We're hiring so that we can grow the business and increase the income. And we're hiring so whatever job we're hiring to replace, we're hiring to replace this job. I don't have to do it anymore. I'm hiring somebody. I'm going to hire Neil to do this job. So I don't have to do this job anymore. Now I can then, if I'm not doing this job, then I can run away and I can do this job. It's hard to do, and this is backwards. So if Neil's going to do this, that frees me up to go do more of this. That's why I'm going to pay Neil money. Now I can get all emotional about, well, how much is Neil worth? How much is this employee worth? And it boils down to this. How well are they going to be able to do this? Are they going to be able to do this well enough so I can do more of this or not? If I pay them to do this and I still have to do this, that was a bad hire. Shame on me. But if I can pay them to do this so I can do more of this and the business doubles, well, hey, whatever I'm paying Neil then is going to be worth every single penny. So I'm going to tell you a story. This goes way back, oh my gosh, 30 years ago now, to hiring my first office manager. So it's 1992, and I had 3 candidates. I had someone who had run a dental office in South Bend 3 times the size of mine, and she was tired of the big city, move out into the country. I had another qualified candidate who had not worked in dentistry, but had run an insurance, a large insurance office, and was just kind of looking for a career change. And then I had a patient, and she'd been a patient for 5 years. She was awesome. She kept her appointment. You'd look forward to having Ruth come into the office because it was always fun. I kind of knew her socially, so I thought she was a good person. And she complained about her job one day. She's a bookkeeper at a large factory in the industrial complex. And she said, I'm not very happy. I called her up that night. I'm like, how would you like to come to work for me? Now, I had all these other interviews going. So in the end, now again, this is 92. What I did during the interview is I explained the job to each of these candidates. And I said, how much would you need to make to do this job? Like what kind of money would you have to have? Let me turn my phone off. It just vibrated. So one said 23, one said 25, and Ruth said 28,000. And at the time, that was a fair amount of money. If we look back 30 years ago with inflation, I mean, I don't know what that is now, 50, 60 grand. And so I could have taken the experienced one who wanted 25. I could have taken the other one from the insurance agency for 23. Ruth had no dental background, but I actually liked her attitude the best as I'm telling her about my vision. So I'm like, okay, so I could save $5,000 and hire somebody that has no experience and need trained, but then I really like this other person who's going to cost me more money. It's worth the extra money to get the person that I think I can work with, have the most fun with. I mean, after all, my book is called Fun at Work, and that I really think I would have the best working relationship with. So I took $5,000 out of my pocket, in essence, and gave it to her so I could hire her with no experience at all working in a dental office. And I will tell you, I put her through a training program. Within 90 days, she was running the whole show, whether I was there or not. That was worth way beyond $5,000. So when it comes time to sit down now and figure out how am I going to pay somebody, what am I going to pay them, then you have to take a look at like, well, what are they going to be contributing to the company? You better bring somebody in, and they better be freeing you up so you can go make 5 times their salary, or they can make you 5 times their salary. That way you're going to try and keep your overhead on staff in the 20, no more than 30% range. And so what kind of sparked this conversation is I'm talking to a dentist, and they were talking about whether they were going to pay the office manager 22 an hour or 25 an hour. So 22 an hour on a 40-hour week is $880. And there's this big debate between the business manager and the doc. I'm not paying that extra $3, but I'm like, wait a minute, time out. We're talking here about $120 a week. We're getting all emotional. That means the cost of a dental cleaning is $250.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting emotional here about the difference between 22 an hour and 25 an hour, when in the dental business, That's 50% of a dental cleaning. It's not worth the air to argue about. If you have a qualified person that says they need 25, well, then let's give them 25. If they suck, we're going to fire them in a month anyway and go hire somebody for 22. But I guess sometimes you can get way off the mark on 25 cents or 50 cents an hour when, is this employee not going to make me that much more? If they aren't, then you either shouldn't be hiring or you shouldn't be hiring them. So
yeah, exactly.
That was kind of my rant to start.
Well, this is where I agree with you. I think people get way too caught up in the hourly wage versus, should it be this? Should it be that? Oh, that's more than we normally pay, things of that nature. I mean, you don't know what type of a person you're working with. And if somebody comes in and checks all the boxes, but you're $1 apart on the minimum wage that they're going to make, then I think that you have a couple of options. The first one is, like you said, hire them. And if after a month they're terrible, then you fire them, which is what you would do with anybody else anyway. And it costs you an extra $100 to figure that out, right? Like that's not breaking the business down, right? But also, this is why we are a big proponent and believer in the bonuses or incentivizing people that hit specific goals, targets, etc., to be able to make money on top of their minimum wages. And that's what I feel like is the ultimate success. Is somebody says, well, I want 25 an hour. You go, listen, we typically pay 20 an hour, but we have a bonus plan and a bonus structure where if you can do this, 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 and this, and the office and the business does these things, you make X dollars, which actually is like making 30 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I've given somebody an incentive to go out and produce harder and work harder and actually be in control of how much money they're going to make.
And if you make that pitch to a candidate, like you're talking here, well, they say, I need 25 an hour. And then you say, well, I'll give you 20 with incentives to make 30. And that candidate goes, nah, I'd rather just have 25 an hour. I'm worth 25 an hour.
Then let them walk.
Yeah, you need to move on.
Yeah, let them walk. They're not worth $25. That's why
they're probably not worth 12.
And I think that's where, that's where you can actually control as an employee how much money you can make. And see, that's the big difference between, raising the national minimum wage up to a particular point and saying, well, you're automatically guaranteed this. I don't agree with that statement because I'm only going to pay somebody something based off of what they've actually earned and based off what they're actually capable of accomplishing. Mm-hmm. And if you give somebody something for not working extra, they're going to become lazy and they're going to expect free stuff all the time and not work very hard for you. That's what we call the clock puncher. The person who just comes in, clocks out. Those are the disconnected employees that we've talked about in previous videos. The people who know, if I just do this for X amount of time over X amount of years, I'm going to end up with this at the end. There's no ambition towards doing that. Well, then, don't be surprised when you don't have a very excited, energetic employee on your hands. Mm-hmm. So we like to go the path of, okay, figure out a way to incentivize people to work harder and in a way that is profitable for the business and profitable for them. Mm-hmm. You find a way where if the business makes an extra amount of money based off of the hard work of everybody, they're going to get certain rewards and benefits at the end of it rather than, just a guaranteed set minimum wage.
And I will say this because, I'm talking now about service industries, that kind of thing. I will tell you this, in the restaurant business, the margins are like paper thin. And if you have a business that has, we're talking like 5-10% margin, 15% margin. Okay, now the difference between 22 an hour and 25 an hour starts to make a difference to the owner.
Yeah.
And I will not go off on this rant, but I will tell you, states are now passing, and Florida just passed $15 an hour minimum wage, which I think is supposed to come into play in.
Well, it's funny. I pulled it up as we were going through it. So it's increasing $1 per hour per year until it reaches 15, which is supposed to be in September 2026.
All
So
right.
it's going to be gradually going over time to get up to that 15 million. 15 million. Oh my god, that $15 mark.
Well, and so again, I'm not going to go off on this rant, but if we're talking about some of these industries where the margins are very thin, that's going to destroy them. That $15 an hour minimum wage for a high school graduate going to work at a restaurant, deliver pizza. I don't know. There's going to be other systems that pop up because the margins are not wide enough in that industry to sustain basically doubling the cost of the employees.
Yeah.
So that is not what I'm talking about. Because in those businesses, in those industries, you got to be all over literally the pennies and the dimes and the dollars. But we're talking about other businesses that are running at 20, 30, 40% margins. Then all of a sudden now, come on, is this employee really worth an extra $100 a week, or are they not? And I see, and it's also, you know, sometimes, this has its similarity. So somebody's like, well, I'm not putting that on a credit card. It has 18% interest, you know, and so it's $1,000, and I'm not putting that on a credit card. It has 18% interest. All right, well, 18% of 1,000 is $180, and you divide that by 12, which is 15. And I mean, I know that that's not exactly how it translates. We're talking about $15 a month. So you're going to let $15 a month keep you from investing in your business or investing in, you know, training with Matterhorn or any other group. So sometimes the numbers come in and the business gets there's way too much emotion. I mean, I talk to realtors, and you know, a $1.7 million deal was lost over $10,000 because the seller and the buyer couldn't come together on the last $10,000 of a $1.7 million property. I'm like, you're dealing with two insane individuals at that point, because that's ridiculous. So we have to be able to get in a helicopter. And
it almost would have been worth it for the realtor to pay the 10 grand.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, screw it. I'm going to give you the 10 out of
I'm going to put 5 in. I'm going to put 5 in, and then who's coming in with the other 5, you know, like
exactly. It's like this is insane. So I guess the reason I wanted to bring this up tonight is the accountant can say this, and your bookkeeper can say this, and your business manager can say that. But let's get in a helicopter and let's get above the fray here. Let's stand back and look. Why are we hiring this person? And how much time are they going to free me up? And how much money are they going to make me?
Yep.
And if they're not going to free me up enough time that I can go sell more, promote more, you know, produce more myself, then I don't need them.
Yeah, like, why would I hire them?
Yeah, when I brought my associate in, I paid him 35%. And my goodness, I mean, on 40% margin, I'm giving him all my pay. But wait a minute, the rent didn't go up, the light bill didn't go up. And so then I was able to open the office for more hours simply for giving him 35% and some staff. So I probably made 50% profit off of the hours that he worked, or I was only making 40% profit off the hours that I worked. Okay, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
It frees me up then to spend more time with my family or go promote more or whatever. So it gets way too emotional. But I will say this. You need to know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. And this is where Profit First comes in. and actually knowing what a profit and loss statement is all about and what these percentages are, what the industry standards. I mean, you can go online and you can find industry standards, whatever industry you're in, industry benchmarks, those are called. So you can figure out the industry benchmarks for whatever industry you're in. But then it's like, okay, you got to know the numbers, but then let's take the emotion out of it. Why are we hiring? And whatever we're going to pay them, is it worth that to free me up and to increase the production?
Yeah, exactly. And also, I want to acknowledge we got a comment from Dat Lee. Says, I appreciate you guys putting out the information. I told my dentist about how I watched you guys at my cleaning this past week, and we were talking about business.
That's
That's good.
awesome.
We're glad you're there. We're glad you're talking about it. We're glad you're learning. That's the most important thing. Is we're a channel of education. The other thing I will say, Dad, is when it comes to hiring people, my philosophy is usually pay more and pay better than the other place because you
Yep.
attract a higher quality of person. And when I say that to people, their first thought is that they're going to attract losers who just want to make more and work less. Yes, you might get that, but I mean, you're going to get that no matter how much you pay anyway. That's just part of life. But if you actually create a work environment that's more fun and people can make more while working less, they will leave their other employer who is stuck on that extra $1 an hour.
Mhm.
And, they will come and work for you. In one of my other businesses, we had a person who was working with us one day a week, just on the weekend to make some extra money. And she loved what we were doing so much that she was like, I want to work full time. I want to work full time. And we weren't ready yet, but we ended up hiring her. And now she's making more money than she did, and she's working less hours. And she's just in heaven working for us.
And we love her.
So
She's
yeah,
effective. She's
yeah.
productive.
And that's what you want to create. You want to create the better environment. And if you're going to squabble with somebody over 50 cents or a dollar, um, you got other issues. And I have met a lot of business owners who are like, oh, I lost this person because the other, blah, blah, blah in town gave her an extra 50 cents an hour. And I'm like, well, let me be honest with you. It wasn't just about 50 cents an hour. There was something else about it, because if you were actually fun to work with, people would have said no to an extra 50 cents an hour. So they probably told you that they're getting an extra 50 cents an hour. The truth is they might not be, you don't know. But you got to reflect internally about why I would want to work for you and maybe make a little bit less. Is there another bonus in there? Is there something else that I get every month or every year that nobody else offers? Those are the types of things that make it fun to work for you. And if your employees aren't having fun, it doesn't matter how much money you're paying them. I've had people I've had people say, well, how much for you to come in and work for me? I say, well, you can't afford me. And they either laugh or they get really offended. I had a couple of people get really offended. And the reason I told them that they couldn't afford me is because I loved doing what I was doing to the point where it's not about dollars. It's not about, I just don't want to work for you. I don't want
If you give me 500,000 a year, I could maybe tolerate your attitude for a year.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I could do it. I'd get the Ferrari and then I'd quit. You know what I mean? Like, I'd suck it up long enough because that's all I'm sitting there doing. But you have to make it exciting for people to work for you. And,
Right.
Again, we're not going to go off on a tangent on the national 15 minimum wage thing and all that stuff. But when you mandate how much you're going to be able to pay somebody, what you're doing is you're cutting the drive of individuals to want to work harder and do more. And you're also making it, as an employer, hard for me to incentivize you to work harder because I'm already paying you benefits. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to get rid of your 401ks. I'm going to get rid of the other benefits that you used to get because I'm paying you 15 an hour now. Sorry, no more lunches on Fridays. No more $100 bills being handed out. I'm already paying you 15 an hour. So that actually cuts down on the overall morale of people. And again, not to say anything that's going to upset anybody, but right now it is very hard to hire new people. Why do you think that is, Dad? Well, that's
Gee,
because
because they just got $2,800 in their bank account last week from the government. Maybe.
no, they're getting unemployment and
Plus,
sitting at home watching Netflix, making the same amount of money as if they were busting their butt working for
yeah,
somebody. So if you de-incentivize the employer and you de-incentivize the employee, you don't have employees.
yeah,
So that's why we agree with and this is what I'm going to cover in the membership live in a couple of weeks, is using statistics to actually decide who you pay bonuses to, how you structure pay schedules, how you figure out how much to pay somebody. You can't just decide, okay, well, I'm going to pay somebody at the front desk $25 an hour. Okay, maybe that's normal. I don't know. But you have to be able to figure out, well, how much are they actually worth to me? Because if you want to pay me $25 an hour to answer your phones, I'm going to prove to you in 45 minutes that I'm worth $100 an hour. And if you're not paying me $100 an hour, I'm going to quit. Um, but that's how much I'm worth to answer your phones. You're going to see your sales double and skyrocket. Why? Because I know how to sell, I know how to talk to people, I know what I'm doing. So I'm not going to come work for you for $25 an hour. But if I'm worth $100 an hour and you're only paying me $25 an hour, then I'm going to leave. So there's a balance there that you have to find. And sometimes just the hourly pay is not it. It's finding games, it's finding things to motivate, and it's finding ways to reward people for doing good things. And that's what actually motivates people to do better.
absolutely. And there's a chapter in my book about bonuses, and the bonus does a couple of things. So, first of all, it's a game, and people who want to have fun at work, they want to have games. And I've told the story before, but I don't even remember what the game was, but we made a game in the dental office to hit a particular mark on something. Again, I don't remember what it was. The reward, it was July. The reward was blizzards at Dairy Queen on the doctor. And so it's near the end of the month. We hit the goal. And I don't know what it was, $30 to the office manager, and she went out and got everybody the
Now,
blizzard.
by the way, I just have to say,
Yeah.
blizzards at the Dairy Queen in Plymouth, Indiana, in 1992 was a treat. So for anybody who's like an effing blizzard, okay,
We're
you
talking
gotta
about
think.
a
Yeah, you gotta
podunk
think.
farm town
Yes, Podunk Farm Town with a one-screen movie theater in 1992.
and three
A
stoplights.
Dairy Queen was packed. That was like the
That was a big
social
deal.
club for miles, miles.
That was a big
So
deal.
yeah, so to
But
get blizzards at Dairy Queen was cool.
the point is, it was a game, and there was a reward, and it was fun just to be playing the game. Now, we had a monthly bonus game where everybody could make a lot more money. And then I even had what's called a jackpot bonus game that I put together with a trip to the Bahamas for the spouse member and the staff member and their spouse, a trip to Las Vegas with money for gambling and dinners. And so there's all different kinds of games. Now the big trips that took a year to win. That was
Right.
thousands of dollars that had to come out of my pocket, quote unquote. But then it was the game that got everybody excited, and that did make it fun. And the staff knew the numbers; they knew exactly the dollars that were collected, and we had an agreement on the game. And nobody begrudged me what I was taking home because it was my office, my game, my license, etc. And so everywhere we go, we have a game. Every company, we have a game. There has to be a bonus game. I mean, I have a client just got an email today that was averaging last year 63,000 a month. We put together a bonus game where the staff got rewarded at 70 and another bonus at 75, 80, 85, like every 5,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so December was 63. You know what this month was? 90. That's a 50% increase.
Yeah.
In 90 days. Now, behind the game, there's a lot of organizing, hiring, training, marketing. There was a whole bunch of other stuff that went along with it, but it was fun and it was a game. And so that's my point here with employees. And Dat, you make a very good point. Great leaders motivate employees to do better and take pride in the business they work for. And so the game is just a game. There is some sort of reward, a Blizzard at a Dairy Queen, movie tickets, a Starbucks card, just whatever the heck it might be. But as the owner, as the manager, it's your job to create that game environment. And then there's a bonus and a reward that goes along with the accomplishment of the goal and the quota. And so when an employee comes in and they're not interested in commission, they're not interested in bonus, they're not interested in a game, like I am worth blah, blah, blah per hour or blah per month or year, and that's really my demand, then they need to move on.
Yeah, maybe maybe the only interest they have is working somewhere else.
Well, I don't think their interest is in working, period. But
here's another mind-blowing thing. If you have a company that's big enough, and I'm talking probably 50 people, depending on what you do, maybe less. But let's say you've got a business of 50 or 100 people that work really hard and da-da-da. You're going to hire somebody whose full-time job is to do nothing but games and rewards for people.
Yeah.
Their full-time job
yeah.
is to come up with ideas, etc. We have a friend who has a large company of salesmen and sales representatives. Tomorrow, they're giving away 3 big screen TVs. They did a cookout last Friday for the staff. They do, Valentine's Day themed games, Easter themed games, summer getaway games. They give out crock pots, microwaves, anything to keep people engaged. But there's basically a full-time person who's in charge of figuring out who deserves what this month, what game are we going to come up with to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, but that person is worth doing that to continue to spur and drive the statistics up. And that's how you decide who you're going to pay and who you're not going to pay and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that's the reward end of this. And so if we're talking about the difference, we'll go back to the example we started with. The person says, I need 25 an hour. And you can say, I'm fine with you saying, listen, I'm going to pay you 20, and with incentives, you can make 30. So then, okay, you're saving on the high end of the 25. You got them for 20, okay? But then we don't want them to be happy at 20. If they want to make 25, then we want them to make 30. I have the business manager for one of my clients who says, just so you know, I need a game. So by the end of the year, I'm driving a Mercedes. I'm like, okay, I love her. Let's put a game together. So by the end of the year, she's driving a Mercedes. I mean, we can totally do that with an expansion formula and a little spreadsheet that I have. So that's the kind of employee we're looking for.
Exactly. Yep. Those would be 5-star employees.
5-star employees. Absolutely.
The 1-star employees, well, they're not going to be motivated by much other than clocking in and clocking out. Exactly. So you can't have a 1-star employee mess up the game either, because all of the other staff will get pissed if that one person who's like, the Debbie Downer of the group and doesn't want to play, doesn't get motivated. She's not going to stick around very long, because everybody else is going to basically riot because they're not motivating and pulling their weight, So that's another important aspect of that.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't know. I think we kind of covered every aspect of this that I wanted to. How about you, Neil?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good thing, and maybe one day we'll talk about the minimum wage thing in a different video. But
so a couple things before we go. If you want to work with us, Neil's been running it across the bottom. You can become a member, join and become a member of our channel. We talked about it at the beginning, but in case you missed it, if the join button is not showing up on your device, then you probably have an iPhone or an iPad. You're gonna have to go and log into your desktop, hit the join button, and we've got 3 different levels of membership with business training. But then to take it to the next level, we have our Adventure to Profit program, where we are giving weekly help, business advice on an entire business training program to implement strategies out of Fun at Work and Mike Michalowicz's book, Profit First. So if you want to know about more about Adventure to Profit, then you go to adventuretoprofit.com, you fill out the application. Want to make sure that it would be a good match for us and you. So we'd be happy to work with all of you on all these different levels.
Yeah, join the YouTube membership at least if you like these live streams. This is just a taste of what we're going to be covering. We're going to be doing really concise training sessions to help you grow your business and your ability to sell in multiple aspects. And it's for as low as $20 a month. All you do is hit the join button there on the YouTube app. And the first training session is going to be next Thursday. And we're going to be covering statistics and how to keep score in business. And that is really the fundamentals of how do you implement a program for bonuses. How do I know how much to pay people? The statistics are going to tell you the whole story. And we're going to teach you how to actually do that. So join the membership program. And later this week, we'll have our 2 usual YouTube videos, Wednesday and Friday. And then next week, come back for another live stream. And if you have any topics or things that you specifically want us to cover or talk about, shoot us an email, leave a comment down below, whatever it is. And be sure you hit the thumbs up button on the stream. And we will see you next week. So have a good week, and we'll see you then.